ما شاء الله لا حول ولا قوة إلا بالله العلي العظيم. حسبنا الله ونعم الوكيل، نعم المولى ونعم النصير. ربي اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقه قولي. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان اللعين الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله الذي جعل الحمد مفتاحا لذكره وسببا للمزيد من فضله ودليلا على آلائه وعظمته، ثم الصلاة والسلام وتحيته والإكرام على النبي الأمي المكي المدني الهاشمي الذي سمي في السماوات بأحمد وفي الأراضين بأبي القاسم محمد. وعلى أهل بيته الأطيبين الأطهرين، سيما أولهم أمير المؤمنين وآخرهم بقية الله في الأراضين، روحي وأرواح العالمين لتراب مقدمه الفداء. ورحمة الله على محبيهم ومواليهم وشيعتهم أجمعين، ولعنة الله على أعدائهم وقتلتهم وغاسب حقوقهم ومنكري فضائلهم ملعونين. أما بعد, for the happiness of Hazrat Zahra Maradiyah, for the enlightenment of the graves of your marhameen, of the graves of the shuhada, ulama and siddiqeen, for the safety of the followers of Ahlul Bayt around the world, and for the safety and the hastening of the reappearance of Hazrat Baqiyatullah al-A'zam arwahun al-Fida, please recite another of your loudest salawat. One of the individuals says that I was sitting in the masjid of Kufa, a man by the name of Suwaid ibn Ghafala. He says that as I was sitting there, there's a discussion and debate as to whether this person is a companion of the Prophet or not, because he did see the Prophet, except that he saw the Prophet after the death. So he reached Medina at the time of the funeral of the Prophet. Nonetheless, Suwaid says, I was sitting in Masjid Kufa with Amir al-Mu'mineen when all of a sudden someone came into the masjid shouting, Mata Khalid ibn Urfata, that Khalid ibn Urfata has died. Amir al-Mu'mineen alayhi salam, hearing this, he says, no, you are either lying or have mistakenly heard. Says Khalid ibn Urfata cannot be dead, for there will come a time when Khalid ibn Urfata will live for a number of years, and there will come a time when he will enter into this very masjid leading an army of people holding the head of my Husayn on a spear. And then the Imam says, and Habib ibn Jammaz will also be in that army. Habib ibn Jammaz was sitting there amongst the people. He stands up and says, Ya Amir al-Mu'mineen, me? I am one of your Shi'as, Ya Ali. I'm going to be there. I love Husayn. Why would I be in an army that has the head of Husayn alayhi salam? Amir al-Mu'mineen says, regardless of what you think, I'm telling you this is what is to occur. The point is, and the thing that we have been mentioning over the previous nights, is that just because you may be upon the haqq right now on this day, it does not mean that tomorrow you too will remain on this haqq. Just because today you have the love of Ahlul Bayt in your heart and the love of Amir al-Mu'mineen in your heart, it does not mean that tomorrow you will not join the army of the Sufyani and seek to kill the 12th Imam when he comes. The fact that you are on the path today does not mean that tomorrow you will remain on this path. And so the only way to guarantee that you will stay upon this path is through steadfastness, is through istiqamah. That this path that you have been given, this path that you have been introduced to, you remain upon this path. You stay steadfast upon it. Continue to grow. Never stagnate, but never step off this path. And only then will you be able to reach that point when resistance is there, or when you face some sort of assault against you, be it the assault of shaitan or the assault of the enemies of Islam. You will have that strength within you to be able to resist and remain steadfast upon the path. Otherwise, just words now today saying, I love Amir al-Mu'mineen, I do the Aza of Amir al-Mu'mineen, or I attend the Majlis of Imam al-Husayn, or I have studied this many years in the Hawza, or I have spent... It doesn't guarantee anything. I can go to hundreds of ziyarats, hundreds of hajj, doesn't guarantee anything. The only thing that can guarantee that your end will be on the same haqq that you are on today is that you wake up tomorrow and you say, I'm going to make sure I don't step 1 foot off this sirati mustaqim. I'm going to live my life every single day exactly how Amir al-Mu'mineen wants me to live. Yesterday we mentioned that when it comes to steadfastness, it's this consistent path, this consistent effort of remaining on this path. And that begins way before one themselves thinks this journey begins. It begins way before a person is able to themselves define the path. And what do I mean by that? Yesterday I mentioned one phase of it, and that was the phase of your spouse selection. The person whom you choose to spend the rest of your life with will dictate, number one, your own remaining on the path, but also of your future generations. For your future generations, even if you maybe slip somewhere, when you leave good children in this world, your children will be the ones that will help you. They will be your reason for salvation. But at the same time, those children can be the reason for your eternal damnation. The example is there in front of you. I gave it a couple of nights ago of Zubayr. And there are many other examples within history of individuals whose children pulled them from the path of haqq and led to their eternal damnation. And so the first stage in creating those good children that remain steadfast upon the path is having a good spouse. But that's only one part of the solution. The second part of it then comes, now that these children are born, how is it that you do the tarbiyah of these children? How is it that you will raise these children to be steadfast individuals that never at any point in their life will they stray off this path? And if they stray for a moment, instantly they return back to it with tawbah. Because that's why tawbah is there. Allah knows that the human being, every now and then he slips up. And tawbah means exactly that, to turn back towards Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Somewhere along the line I may slip up, but as long as I know that the door to Allah is always open, that door never closes, I can always turn back to Him. And so that mindset only can come when the correct tarbiyah is instilled within a child. And this is why there is so much emphasis on tarbiyat awlad in the traditions of Muhammad and Ali Muhammad. The Holy Prophet one day is sitting, the narration says that the Holy Prophet, he was looking at some children, they were playing. So it says, أنه نظر إلى بعض الأطفال, he was looking at some young children, they were playing. فقال ويل لأولاد آخر الزمان من آبائهم. Says, woe unto the children of آخر الزمان, our time, from their fathers. from their fathers. And note, by the way, I'll say this, that you'll see a lot of the narrations that talk about, in fact, all of the narrations that talk about the tarbiyah of the awlad, of the training of your children following birth, all of it is on the father. This is why the children are known, one of the right that the child has over the father is that the father is responsible for the tarbiyah, not the mother. The mother is responsible for her own purity, her pakdamani, all of that she can transmit to the child while in the womb. The moment the child comes out of the womb, the sole responsibility of the tarbiyah lies with the father and only with the father. That's not to say that the mother can't help. No. It means that the system of tarbiyah, the system of training the child in becoming righteous, it lies on the shoulders of the father. So if that child, as a lack of attention from the father, ends up becoming destined for hell, that father will also be pulled to hell, not the mother. Unless she actively did something that led to that child being misguided. Often we culturally, we're like, I go out to work, she'll deal with them. And then I come back, why hasn't he learnt his surahs yet? Why doesn't he know this yet? Why doesn't he know this yet? What do you do with him at home all day? The responsibility is with the father. If the father is not training his child in religious, social, moral lessons, and the child goes off the path or the child develops bad akhlaq, the father goes to hell. So the Holy Prophet says, woe unto those children of Akhir Zaman, our time, from their fathers. The ashab that are around, they say, Ya Rasulullah, min abaihimul mushrikeen, says, are their fathers going to be mushriks? Will they be idol worshippers? The Holy Prophet replies, La min abaihimul mu'mineen. Says, I'm not talking about the fathers of the mushrik children. I'm talking about the fathers of the mu'min children. The fathers of children that have iman. They say, Ya Rasulullah, what is this father doing that you are saying woe unto him? The Holy Prophet says, لا يعلمونهم شيئا من الفرائض وإذا تعلموا أولادهم منعوهم. Says that this father does not, why is the Prophet saying woe unto him? Says because this father does not teach his child anything of the wajibat of the deen. And if someone else comes to train his child and tell his child, look, this is halal, this is haram, don't do that, that's wrong, the father is the one that stands up and says, don't you dare tell my child what to do. So first thing that we realize is that the responsibility, what is the responsibility of the father? That he has to teach his child the wajibat of the deen. How many wajibat are there in the deen? You might say hundreds, right? Oh, hundreds. So many. No. How many wajibat are there? How many furu'id deen are there? Do I have to list them? Where are the madrasa teachers? Let's get the madrasa teachers. How many furu'id deen are there? 10. There are 10 furu'id deen. That's all that is wajib in the religion. What did I said to you yesterday? All your thawab and all of your sin is based on your a'mal. Your a'mal are 10 things. The wajibat of the religion are 10 things, only 10. And these 10 are solely the responsibility of the father, that he has to teach the child. Salat, Sawm, Hajj, Zakat, ila akhir. If the dad doesn't even know what khums is and what zakat is, he doesn't know what, when he, for years he's had the money to go to Hajj and he's not gone to Hajj. He's had the money to go to Hajj, he's had the istita'at to go to Hajj. He's had the opportunity, the money, the opportunity, everything. He's chosen not to go to Hajj. And that's a side point. Anyone who does not go to Hajj when they have the istita'at, hadith of the Holy Prophet, that whoever has the money to go to Hajj doesn't go, he dies, Allah raises him amongst the Jews and the Christians. Doesn't raise him as a Muslim. One who has istita'at Hajj. So the father who doesn't teach his children the fara'id, and then if someone else goes to teach his children of the halal and the haram of the religion, this father stops them. He says, don't tell my child what is halal and haram. He stops others from correcting his child. وَرَضُوا عَنْهُمْ بِعَرَضٍ يَسِيرٍ مِنَ الدُّنْيَا فَأَنَا مِنْهُمْ بَرِيءٌ وَهُمْ مِنَّا بَرَاءٌ. The Holy Prophet says, and they are happy when their child attains something from the dunya. Their child gets a good job, they're like, wow, well done. But their child prays, they don't praise them for that. They're happy when their child gains something from the dunya, but memorizes some surah or comes, recites a noha, does matam, they're not, whatever. But he gets good grades at school, they're, well done, my son. They put all of their efforts in teaching the child the ways of the dunya, but don't tell them anything of the akhirah. The Holy Prophet says, فَأَنَا مِنْهُمْ بَرِيءٌ وَهُمْ مِنَّا بِرَاءٌ. Says, I do bara'at from them. I am distant from them and they are distant from me. Who? The fathers who don't teach their children the wajibat. The tarbiyah of the awlad is very important. It is necessary to prepare the next generation. The fact that we have communities where whole generations are lost and off the path, I guarantee you that the majority of that fault lies with the father. It's a big statement I'm making. It lies with the father. If not a collective upon the parents, but definitely upon the father. So no, but Mullah Sahib, I took him to masjid. It's not my fault he turned out Bagharat. So I brought him to the masjid. But it was his friends. You might have brought him to the masjid, but you didn't care what friends he had. Or you didn't give him alternatives to those friends. Instead, all you did is cuss him out for having those bad friends. As we will go through this lecture, you will see that there are various aspects to the tarbiyah of the awlad that we don't even consider as being a part of the tarbiyah. Take this, for example. Imam Ali salawatullah wa salamuhu alayhi says, whoever has an infant, so a young baby, a toddler, whoever has an infant, they must act like a child with them. With your children, act like a child. When they're an infant, when they're young, when we're talking young, we're talking under the age of 7. It says, be a child with them. See, the Holy Prophet of Islam going on to all fours. And Imam al-Hasan, Imam al-Husayn are riding on the back of the Holy Prophet. And he's pretending to be a horse for them, pretending to be a camel for them. Or he's carrying them on his shoulders. or he's sitting down, he's playing with them. Amir al-Mu'mineen, he's the Khalifatul Muslimin. He's going in the middle of the night to Kufa and sitting down and playing games with the orphans of Kufa. I'm like, no. I'm not a kid. It might be my kid. I'm not doing that for him. I'm too cool. I'm too cool to act like an animal, or I'm too cool to do that. No. That lowers my status. Imam Ali alayhi salam is saying, you have a child that is an infant, then act like a child with your child. It will create a bond. It will create a love. It will create a trust. One narration that I mentioned to you the other day about that trust, that Imam al-Kadhim says that fulfill your promises towards your children, for they believe you to be their raziq. They don't know the concept of God. They don't know all of these ideas of Tawheed. They look at you and they think you're their raziq. They know this person gives me food. This person gives me clothes. This person keeps me safe. Imam says, don't break your promises to your children, for they view you as their raziq. And indeed, nothing angers Allah more than the one that tramples on the rights of his women and children. One who doesn't fulfill the rights of his wife and his children. Says that is what angers Allah the most. An individual should fulfill. Don't lie to your children. Don't tell them just for them to be quiet. Start saying, I don't know, I'll give you this, just, yeah, don't worry. And then you know that later on they're going to forget and it's okay. You know that to make them stop crying. So, I'll give you an example. I've given this example here before, but one day the Holy Prophet is sitting down, and there's a lady who's come to visit the Prophet, and her child is with her. And the child's running around the room. And she calls him and she says, look, come here, I've got something to give you. The Holy Prophet says to her, what's in your hand? All of us, we do that a lot. There's a child, you want to pick up the kid, and you're like, quick, I've got something for you. Look. And the kid comes over, what is it? And you're like, nothing, I just wanted to hug you. The Holy Prophet says, what's in your hand? This lady, she's doing the same thing. She says, Ya Rasulullah, there's a date in my hand. If he comes over, I'm going to give him the date. The Holy Prophet says, good. Because if there was nothing in your hand, you would have committed 2 grave sins. The first sin is that you would have lied to the child. The second sin is that you would have told the child it's okay to lie. You would have taught him it's okay to lie. You would have been committing 2 sins. Lead by example. There are phases in the tarbiyah of the awlad. There are phases in the training of your children. The Holy Prophet says, Al-Ghulam yal'abu sab'a sinin wa yata'allamu al-kitab sab'a sinin wa yata'allamu al-halal wal-haram sab'a sinin. Says that your child, for 7 years, let them play. Don't try and make them into mini adults. Don't try and force them and discipline them and make them learn how to read and write. And says that for 7 years, let them play. Do whatever they want. Don't be shouting and screaming at your child. Stop doing that. Don't do this. Don't. 7 years, let them play. 7 years, at the 7th, so 7, not to 7, let them play. From 7 to 14, teach them now how to read and write. See, this current education system that we have, that from the age of 4 or 5, you stick them in school and start getting the... This was something that was created from the Industrial Revolution. Right now, even if you want to look at all of the psychological literature out there, places like Finland, places like Iran, that start children at school, teaching them at the age of 7 in reception, beginning at that point how to read and write. You compare their educational attainment between a child that learnt how to read and write at the age of 5 and a child that learnt how to read from absolutely no ability from the age of 7. By the time they reach the age of 10, there is no difference between them. We unnecessarily pressurize our children from the age of 5. They're in school and then we're like, oh my God, my kid's, a bit slow. Why is he not learning how to write? The Islamic principle is 7 years, let them play. From the 7th year, now teach them how to read and write. And then the Holy Prophet says, and then when they reach the age of 14, now it's the time to teach them halal and haram. The 7 early years, the 0 to 7, is the most critical time. That is the time where the child does not learn through instruction. The child learns through emulation. You can tell the child to do whatever you want them to do, but if they witness you with bad akhlaq, they witness you with a sharp tongue, they witness you with a harsh way of speaking to people, that kid is going to speak harshly to you in the same way. When you are called by someone, you say, what? Next time you call your son, he's going to reply to you, what? Why? Because he's heard you reply in disrespectful ways to others when they call you. 7 years, let them play. Let them explore the world. I don't want to turn this into a child psychology lecture, but tactile play and letting a child play with random things, like vegetables and things like that is very good for their cognitive development. From the age of 0 to 7, let them play. Don't try and discipline them. Don't try and, don't you sit like this and talk like this and don't you do that. And you let them play. Let them explore. From the 7 to 14 or from 7 to 21, this is where now rules are beginning to get. That's why I say 0 to 7. There's no obligation. Don't tell them to pray. If they want to come and pray, first of all, they've got to see you pray. Then they'll come and join you. But from the age of 8, 7 to 8 years, says now the other narrations say now begin to force your child to pray. Start to enforce the salah on them. Especially for boys. For girls, they become baligh at the age of 9 and then they have to pray. But why is it for boys from 7 years? And you see all of these ideas that we have of tarbiyah, they're used in the masculine. One, because of that term, but also because these regimented regimes are required for boys. From the age of 7 onwards, in order to get them used to it. So by the time they reach the age of 14, for them salah is common. But if they've never seen their dad do a sajda in their life, I've been so many times here, Canada, I've gone to funerals and kids are like, oh, what do we do? Astaghfirullah. There's a funeral that we had in Edmonton, Canada, that is not London. A few people have been confused by that. So we had a funeral. Now the father kind of used to come to the masjid, identified as Shia, whatever it is. Sons, he didn't really push them or anything, none of that. Now, like we're doing the Salatul Mayyit, the dad's in front of them. Everybody is standing to pray, Allahu Akbar, and the son's looking around like. And he pulls out his phone, he starts filming his dad. It was like, rather than praying over him, he's filming this whole thing. If we do not instill this from a young age into our children, and I'm talking about many of you here that are at the age where you have children at this age, I cannot emphasize it enough, how important it is that you follow what Ahlul Bayt alayhimus salam have taught you in raising a child. And the only way you can do that is when you yourself know the teachings of Ahlul Bayt. 7 years, let them play. In another narration, Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa alihi wa sallam, The Holy Prophet, he says, Rahimallahu man a'ana waladahu ala birra. Says, may the mercy of God be upon that father or those parents that aid their children to good, to doing good. The Ashab asked, Ya Rasulullah, how does a father, how do parents aid a child in doing good? Listen to what the Holy Prophet says. For those who have strict rules for their young infants and children, you know, like sleep training and food training, and it doesn't matter if they cry, let them do it. Although all that is now being debunked as well when you study cortisol levels in young children that are left to cry. But anyway, that's another discussion for later on. But so the Holy Prophet is saying, how do you aid? So the Prophet is talking about bir. Allah refers to bir in the Holy Quran, lan tanalul bir, that you will never achieve righteousness. Here the Holy Prophet is saying, may the mercy of God be upon those parents that enable their children to achieve righteousness. Righteousness, bir. Who are the people of bir? They are the abrar. The abrar are those that in Surah Al-Insan, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says that they will drink from, they will be in heaven and they will be reclining on cushions and they will be drinking. Those are the abrar. Abrar are those who do bir. The Holy Prophet says, blessings be upon those parents who aid their children into being righteous. The companion says, how, Ya Rasulullah? How do they help them? By making them pray? By making them fast? By making them sit and be quiet? No. The Holy Prophet says, يَقْبَلُ مَيْسُورَهُ وَيَتَجَاوَزَهُ عَنْ مَعْصُورِهِ وَلَا يُرْحِقُهُ وَلَا يَخْرُقُ بِهِ. It says, whatever the child does within their limited capacity, they accept it. Your child comes to you and says, Daddy, look, I drew you. And he's drew an ogre or something that's like all weird. You don't sit there and go, oh, you know what it is? Look, Dad's eyes aren't like this. Maybe you should. He says, no, whatever little they give you in their limited capacity, accept it from them. Accept it from them. Whatever little, if they're coming and they're bringing you a glass of water, take it from them. I didn't ask for water. There's no ice in this. It's not cold. You know I don't drink this. Why have you brought me a fizzy drink? You know I'm on a diet. Whatever it is. It says whatever they bring, in the limits of their capacity throughout their growth, they have limited capacity. They have limitations. Accept it. Whatever they do for you, accept it from them. And whatever is difficult or impossible for them to do, don't ask them to do it. You know what your child's ability is. Don't kid yourself that you've got an Einstein on your hands, or you know what their ability is. So then don't make them do something that's outside of their ability. You'll ruin their self-esteem. Don't make them do things that are outside of their age. These aren't my words. You might have heard all of these words floating around in modern psychology, but that's modern psychology. These are the words of Ahlul Bayt. All of that you have in the modern world, everything. In dhukr al-khair, Imam al-Hadi says, in dhukr al-khair, kuntum awwalahu wa aslahu wa ma'dinuhu wa ma'wahu wa muntaha. Wherever there is any khair in this dunya, any good in this dunya, whatever you see that is good in this world, whether you hear it on Instagram or you hear it in a lecture, kuntum awwalahu. The first of it comes from Ahlul Bayt. They are the roots of it. They are the origin of it. All of it comes from them. Don't kid yourself knocking on the doors of anyone else when you can gain everything from the door of Ali Muhammad. Says, so accept whatever little they give you and do not force them to do something that is outside of their ability. And then he carries on, says, and in other narrations says, don't force your children to do something that is evil or haram. Whatever it may be. Oh, you know, that boy pushed you over or whatever. Okay, next time when he's not looking, just, I don't know, throw some sand in his eyes. Or kick him from behind, or whatever it is. Don't teach them this evil. Don't teach them to harm. Other narration says they don't lie to their children. This one's very important. It says what is necessary in the tarbiyah of the awlad is that although I said to you the first point was what? The father must act and the parents must act like children with their children. But there is a limit to acting like a child with your children, and that comes here. It says, do not act in an ignorant way or a stupid way in front of your children. These are literal words. Jahl, ignorant, and in a stupid way. What does that mean? Everybody knows what you're about to say. You yourself know what you're about to say is a bit dumb. Don't say it in front of your kids, because they'll lose respect for you. When it comes to your children, act like a child, do it. But when it comes externally, don't act the fool. Don't be someone who's disrespectful to other people while your child is watching. Don't say silly things while your child is there. How many people, and this is, it's terrible, more and more I hear it, how many people curse and swear in the presence of their children? Doing it anyway is haram, full stop, it's haram anyway. Imam Ali alayhi salam, he tells off Hujr ibn Adi and Malik al-Ashtar that in the battle of Siffin, when they reached near Muawiyah's army and they heard them swearing at Imam Ali, so they swore back at Muawiyah. When Amir al-Mu'mineen, they returned, Amir al-Mu'mineen said, I heard that you swore at my enemy Muawiyah. Said, yes, Ya Ali, they were swearing at you, so we swore at Muawiyah. Imam Ali says that I do not like those who swear. Laysa sabbabin. Don't swear, even at my enemies. Curse words. La'na is different. La'na is dua. La'na is ibadat. Swearing is haram even at the enemies of Allah and Ahlul Bayt. Now imagine that sin. The fourth Imam had a companion, just once that companion, all the time he was with the Imam, just once that companion swore in the presence of the Imam at his slave. The Imam said, get away from me. Don't come near me again. That man died. He left this world while the fourth Imam was still angry at him. I can't even string together a sentence without throwing a swear word in it. I can't string together a sentence without saying some sort of curse. And I'm doing it in front of my children. It's even worse. I'm teaching them that it's okay to do these things. And then when they do it, every time my child swears, because they've heard me say it, the sin is going where? It's going straight on me. If I want children that are on the path of haqq, then I can't do, I need to be walking that path of haqq. I need to be on the path, be steadfast on the path of truth. I can't be wavering in my iman. I can't be wavering in my love of Ahlul Bayt. I can't be wavering in what it is that I believe in. I need to be steadfast on it. And then if there was one thing that underlies the whole tarbiyah of the awlad and tarbiyah of young children, it is this way. It is this one line, and that is do it, but do it with love. with softness, with kindness. Look how harsh, we're so harsh. There'll be someone coming or someone messing around or there's my kid or someone else's kid or whatever. Why? Stop it, what are you doing? It's about being soft. It's softness that influences hearts, not harshness. If harshness was the way of Ahlul Bayt, then Zuhair ibn Qayn and Hur and all of these would be in hell today. If Imam Husayn had used that same harshness that I have. It's about being soft. One of the ulama, he says that when I was young, we would throw stones at the house of Marhum Haj Akhund Mullah Abbas Turbati. He's one of the Urafat. So when we were young, we were messing around. We used to throw stones at his house. So one day he opened the door and he caught us. And he took us all. He said, okay, come. He took us into the house and he called to his wife. He said, look, these young boys, they've been playing so much, they're tired. Bring them something to eat. They've got to be thirsty and hungry. Let them eat. So we were worried. All of a sudden, they brought food and everything for us. We ate, we drank, we were happy. He laughed with us, he joked with us. And then we left. So from that day on, I became one of his students. And then later on, he himself became an alim. It's about softness. Having that softness. The Holy Prophet of Islam was extremely soft in his approach. He was extremely loving in his approach. Amir al-Mu'mineen, he asks Imam al-Hasan, he says that what is the best way to prevent slips and sins from happening? What is the best way from changing, stopping someone from sinning, countering evil within a person? The Imam says, counter evil with good. When someone does something evil to you, someone does something harsh to you, someone disrespects you, reply to them with good. Kill them with love, with your softness. So in this early stage, at least from 0 to 7, there should be no force. Should be just pure love. When they reach 14 and above, from the age of 7 and above, now you begin to bring in intellectual reasons. Alongside their reading and writing, now you begin to explain to them a little bit more. And then from the age of 14 onwards, now it's fully intellectual reasoning, philosophical reasonings, all of these various things to help them on this journey of their own understanding. Don't just look at being harsh to stop their behavior. No, ask yourself, ponder, why is it that my child is acting out? Why is my child? Maybe it's because I'm not giving my child enough attention. The only time I give my kid attention is when I've got to scold him. I don't spend time with them. I don't sit with them. I don't ask them how their day went. I'm so absorbed within my own working day that they don't feel loved. They don't feel secure. My child will hide from me. He'll go and tell other people his secrets. He won't tell me. Why? Because there isn't a secure attachment. This 0 to 7 period is so important. This is where, even in modern day psychology, they say this is where secure attachments are formed. Especially for fathers of daughters. Especially for mothers of daughters. Here for the sons, it's like, do this. There's regiment. For daughters, it's totally opposite. It says, be soft with your daughters. Even softer than you are with your sons. Don't show any harshness to your daughters. Be soft and loving. The Imam says, because you can regiment your sons. They need it. But with your daughters, you need to cultivate that atifa within them, that softness. Be soft with them. That's why it says your children, your sons are a ni'mah for you. Your daughters are a rahmah. It says Allah will question you about your ni'mat, but He won't question you of your rahmah. That rahmah that is in your life in the form of your daughter. It says be soft with her. be loving towards her. There are so many people we get that come for counseling and stuff like this, that there is the problem fundamentally it lies, especially with girls that make bad decisions and later on bad choices when it comes to spouse selection and broken marriages and all of that. When you whittle it down, you see that there is a lack of softness in the approach of the father specifically towards the daughter. You may not be able to see it on the surface, but I guarantee you, dig deeper and there is something there. That bad decision making is constantly done. Be soft and loving towards the daughters. Yes, with the sons, they need some regiments. But after the age of 7. From 0 to 7, play. 7 to 14, teach. How to read and write and rules. 14 to 21, enforce those rules. 21 onwards, that's when they become your advisor. When you want to correct them, hadith says, don't correct them in public. Your child says, don't admonish your children in public. Even Allah in the Holy Quran, when He's telling the Holy Prophet, do this, do this, do this, He's not actually talking to the Prophet of Allah. He's doing it indirectly, talking to us. When Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying to the Holy Prophet that, O Prophet, do not admonish your parents when they reach an old age. The Holy Prophet's parents died in childhood. So then what? What is the Holy Prophet, what is Allah saying? No, the message is for us. And the same is for the children as well. Says that if you want to correct your children, don't address it directly. If you're going to address it, then do it privately. Don't do it in front of everyone else. And when you do it with kindness, do it with love. Make sure it's short and to the point. Don't bring up the past as well. You did this last week and you did this last month and you did this. No, the Holy Prophet and the Ahlul Bayt say, if you're going to admonish your children, you're going to teach them, then do it with love. And that's the fundamental part. If you're going to admonish them, then do it with love. And this admonition is so important, that the way this admonition is done, that it can awaken within someone that path towards the akhirah. Either it goes towards hell or it goes towards heaven. And there is one person in Karbala that the Hujjah of Allah admonished in such a way that it awoke him towards a reality that though he was on the path of hell, with one word, with one sentence, Imam al-Husayn pulled Hur towards heaven. Abu Abdullah, that moment when Imam al-Husayn, when Hur grabbed hold of the reins of the horse of Imam al-Husayn and withdrew his sword, and the children of Abu Abdullah and the women, they became uneasy. The children began to cry, and Abu Abdullah at that point says to him, Hur, may your mother cry at your funeral. It was these words that awoke Hur, a morality that exists in the heart of Hur that Hur himself had long forgotten. The moment he said that, Hur said, Hussein, had it been anyone else, I would have replied in kind, but Hussein, your mother is Fatima al-Zahra. I can't reply in kind. Your mother is Fatima al-Zahra. Abu Abdullah left Hur at that point. That was enough to awaken him. And as the days progressed and the thirst increased in the camps of Abu Abdullah, reaching the night of Ashura, Hur is in a state of turmoil, going back and forth. Someone comes to him and says, Hur, if anyone had asked me who is the bravest person in all of Kufa, I would have said you. But today, this state I find you in, what's wrong with you? Hur says, I'm not afraid of the battle. He says to him, Hur, we're 30,000, they're only a handful of people. He says, I'm not afraid of the battle. He says, I see myself standing between heaven and hell. Hur makes that steadfast resolve. He sees the path of truth. Now he forms a steadfast resolve and he goes. Some say he took his slave with him, his son with him. However it is that he reached Abu Abdullah, they say he came off his horse. He came to a point, some say that he turned to his son. He took his shoes, he hung them around his neck. He said, tie my hands. I wish to go in front of Abu Abdullah as a prisoner. And so now Hur comes. As he's making his way, he begins to do a dua. He says, oh Allah, I have turned back towards you. I am the reason for the fear in the hearts of the children of the Hujjah of Allah. Oh Allah, soften the heart of Husayn towards me. Hur is coming from one side seeking forgiveness. From the other side, Abu Abdullah himself runs to meet Hur. As Hur comes and stands in front of Abu Abdullah, his head is lowered, his hands are tied. Abu Abdullah sees him. He says, Irfa ra'sak ya Sheikh. Oh, raise your head, oh Sheikh. Why have you got your head lowered? Hur slowly raises his head. He says, Yabna Rasulillah, I am the reason for the fear in the heart of your children. I am the reason for the fear in the hearts of the daughters of Ali and Batul. Halli min tawbah, is there any forgiveness for me, Yabna Rasulillah? The Imam says to him, Hur, now that you have come to us, all is forgiven. Hur then carries on to say one thing. In Amali Sattain, the narrator says that Hur says to Abu Abdullah, Yabna Rasulillah, I scared the women and the children as well. Will you give me permission that I go and ask them for forgiveness as well? Abu Abdullah says, go, Hur. As Hur is going, he turns to Abu Fadl al-Abbas. He says, Abbas, will you come and be my intercessor with Zainab alayha salam? That you introduce me to them and say, I want to apologize. Hur goes, he stands outside the tents of the women of Ahlul Bayt. He calls out to them, he asks them for forgiveness. At one point, Zainab alayha salam calls out, she says, Hur, we are happy with you. Hur hearing this, and now he begins to feel that happiness. He comes to Abu Abdullah. He says, Yabna Rasulillah, give me permission to go out and fight. I was the one that brought you here. I was the reason for all of this to happen. Let me go and be the first to go out. Imam gives him permission. Hur goes out. Look at the one that lived a life of sin, but for one moment he chose to come to Imam al-Husayn with a pure heart. Now look how Husayn alayhi salam treats him. Hur rides out, he fights, they attack Hur, he falls from the horse to the earth. He calls towards Imam al-Husayn. Husayn alayhi salam runs to the body of Hur. Not every body did Husayn go to, but he came to the body of Hur. He sat by the body of Hur. He took the head of Hur in his lap. He saw the head of Hur was bleeding. Here Imam al-Husayn, he recites poetry by Hur. He says, Hur, what a beautiful name your mother gave you, for surely you are Hur in this world and the akhirah. Then he takes a handkerchief from his pocket, the handkerchief that his mother Zahra had sewn. He ties it around the head of Hur. Hur, how lucky you were. With pure intention you came to Husayn. You fell in the way of Husayn. Husayn alayhi salam himself came. He tied your head with the handkerchief of Zahra. Hur, Imam Husayn was there to take your head in his lap. But Hur, where were you on Asr Ashura when Husayn fell from the horse, his head bleeding from the stone that had struck it? Hur, there was no one there to take the head of Husayn. وَضَعَ خَدَّهُ عَلَى الرَّمْلِ وَالتُّرَابِ. Husayn places his cheek on the earth and the stones of Karbala. ألا لعنة الله على القوم الظالمين وسيعلم الذين ظلموا أي منقلب ينقلبون إنا لله وإنا